This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Since the beginning of my channel in early 2021, I have done so many rewarding furniture flips. Some of them I've been extremely happy with, some not so much, but whether it's just a big ugly piece of furniture, something with a lot of damage, a particularly rewarding process, or an unexpected result, I do have my favorites, and these are my 10 from 2021. These are in no particular order, and let me just start by saying that yes, I'm aware it is December of 2022, but as I was about to sit down and do one for this year, I realized I didn't do a favorites video from last year, so here it is. This Art Deco dresser was absolutely trashed. I have no idea what happened to the top of this piece. It almost looks like someone had flipped this upside down and drug it along the road. It was that bad. This piece has a solid wood frame with beautiful mahogany veneer over top. I already know this is going to be a salvage mission. I'm not going to be able to get every little scratch and ding out, but I'm going to do my best to keep this piece out of the trash. For all the segments you're going to see in this video, there are full-length, in-depth videos. I will link them all down below if you want a more detailed description of what I'm doing as I'm going along. But for this compilation, just sit back, relax, and enjoy these flips. This piece is your quintessential thrift store find. Those big, chunky 70s dressers that are part wood, part veneer, usually part particle board, and they just have a very dated look. This was the perfect piece for me to show you my one-coat paint technique where a little bit of the wood grain shows through, but you do get the update of the paint. You will see me nearly complete this dresser and then randomly take a turn and decide to build a custom base for this. The base I built is pretty common now across YouTube. I believe DIY Wife was one of the first ones to do it, and it both literally and figuratively elevated this piece. I hope you enjoyed this transformation. This next piece is a Danish teak desk, and I want to get some things straight because I had a bit of flack on the last teak piece that I did, which was a table. What a lot of people aren't realizing is that a lot of these Danish pieces in particular, but most mid-century in general, are not solid wood. It is real teak, but it is teak veneer, and quite often it is over something like pressed wood, which you can see here. This does not make it cheap, it does not make it junk, which is kind of a misconception. I had so many people message me and ask why I would bother with pieces like this. They still sell really well, and if you're into mid-century furniture at all, you know that these are not cheap to buy. And I honestly don't really understand why people call it junk. Sure, it's not solid wood, but it has lasted just as long as the solid wood pieces from the same era. In fact, a lot of these are in better shape than solid wood because it's less prone to cracking, and it is real wood veneer. So it can be refinished, it can be sanded and stained and sealed. It just happens to have a different substrate. This one was about to be trashed. This is basically the last stop for this piece. It has solid wood legs, but like I mentioned, the rest is teak veneer, and there was a pretty significant hole in the top. If I had had teak veneer on hand, I probably would have patched the veneer. Instead, what I ended up having to do was fill the hole with a wood epoxy and then try to camouflage it as best as possible. There are 2 or 3 different ways I could have approached this repair. This is what I had to work with at the time. My goal was keeping this out of the landfill. While I knew it wouldn't be perfect, I would think we could all agree that it is miles better than it was, and at least now it is being loved and being used. Moving now to midsummer 2021, I picked up this set of laminate dressers. Now, just because something has a laminate top and sides doesn't necessarily mean that the drawers are laminate or that it's a piece of crap. A lot of these pieces have solid wood components like frames, handles, legs, and in this case, there were solid wood drawers underneath of that laminate faux wood grain. These smelled terrible, so I took them out in the very hot sun and cleaned this very well with vinegar. I'm going to be doing a wood and paint combination, and I'll be leaving the handles and legs wood as well. This is a pretty dramatic flip, so I hope you enjoy. Anybody who's been on my channel before will remember this piece. This was free on Facebook Marketplace. It was just trashed. It smelled absolutely horrible. Clearly the paint job has seen better days. There was no back to this. It needed a lot of work. I've done enough pieces like this to know that there was for sure a walnut veneer underneath, but I had no idea what the condition was going to be like. While I restored most of the wood, I did opt to paint the trim of the frame in the front as well as the side panels to help the trim that I just painted blend a little bit better. The top and all of the drawer faces I left wood. I could feel the dresser just take a deep breath. Hope you enjoyed this one. now we're on to this little games table. This was a Facebook Marketplace find, but it was really, really rough. This was somebody's backyard project. This is not an expensive or valuable piece, but it had potential. It just needed some work. There was a terribly repaired leg that was technically still broken. And while some people do like this scallop trim, it doesn't sell very well around here. So I'm going to give this a sort of mid-century vibe. This was another wood paint combination. I opted to paint the main part, added some mid-century tapered legs, and did what I could to save the top. Back to one of my earliest YouTube videos, this piece was found on the side of the road in the rain. I got it just in time, but there were some issues. The lower drawer didn't work because of a warped board. Clearly the finish was shot. I really didn't like the legs that came with this, and because this was so long ago, I didn't have a lot of the tools that I have access to now, like a table saw and a miter saw. So I had to sort of make do with what I had to work with. I'm very grateful to have access to those tools now, but at the same time, these older pieces were really challenging for me and I had to think a little bit outside the box. I hope you enjoy this crazy transformation. This next set of dressers was another extreme transformation. These were absolutely filthy. There's a bit of a story that goes along with these. If you want to check it out on my full-length video, I will link it down below. But the short version is these really smelled like cigarette smoke. And I always have some people that get offended when I talk about the smell of furniture, but you have to understand I am selling this stuff and nobody wants to buy stinky furniture. So there's no judgment. I don't hate on people that smoke. It's just that it makes it very hard to sell furniture when it smells like cigarettes. These pieces needed to be scrubbed top to bottom. I used an odor blocking primer on them and did my best to take these from dark and dingy to bright and modern. I hope you're enjoying so far my list of favorite flips from 2021. I know you guys are used to me talking you all the way through my projects. I thought this would be kind of a neat thing to do where I just sort of introduce the piece and then you can just sort of zone out and see what I do with the furniture. I like to do these little compilations every now and then, just mix things up. And not everybody has time to sit and watch full-length videos, so this gives you sort of a sneak peek at what my channel is about. If you enjoy this sort of furniture flipping, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified every time I put out a new video, which is usually once a week or close to it, you can hit that notification bell and YouTube will let you know. We've all seen these big, chunky pine dressers on Facebook Marketplace and in thrift stores and yard sales. They're heavy, they're awkward, and while there's definitely going to be some people that love them in this condition, most people out looking for new furniture just find them a bit too dated. Now, dated is a relative term, and as you know, furniture and styles of furniture is very subjective. But what I like to do with these pieces is try to make them a little bit brighter, a little bit more modern, and while styles do come and go, nothing beats a good sturdy piece of furniture, which is exactly what this is. I took this piece, lightened it up, ended up doing a whitewash and a very light paint color, and I opted to take off the little door in the middle of the piece and put 2 shelves in instead. These little shelf areas are great for displaying pottery or books, whatever collectibles you're into, and it just helps break up the monotony of the front of the piece. Not only was this one of my favorite pieces from 2021, this is probably one of my all-time favorite pieces, and I hope you like it too. Last but not least in my list of favorite pieces from 2021 is this little laminate dresser that unfortunately has a bubble top. On this piece, the top and sides are laminate over hardboard panels. So those can be painted, but they can't really be stripped down and refinished like a veneer can. I ended up doing a partial paint, partial wood grain on this piece. Bubbled laminate tops can be repaired. You have to sand them smooth and then be sure to seal them before you paint. Otherwise, the paint is going to absorb differently into those sanded areas. I really hope you enjoyed this compilation. There will be a 2022 version coming in a couple of weeks. If you have a moment and don't mind, please let me know below which one of these 10 were your favorite. Please stay tuned for just a moment for a quick word from our sponsor, and I'm excited to see you next time. Thank you for watching. I'm actually super excited to tell you about another feature of Squarespace that I just discovered, and for anyone who does custom furniture, this is a great thing to have. You can actually set up your website with online scheduling. So if you want to book a furniture consultation or times to pick up or deliver furniture, this is a great way to do it. You can set up the hours you want to work, you can connect to your PayPal, people can pay you right over the scheduling software, and even create gift cards and subscriptions. You can add notes on each client. This is a great tool to have for custom furniture flippers. If this sounds like something that's up your alley, you can go to squarespace.com and get a free trial. You can check everything out. And when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/transcendfurniture and get 10% off your website or domain.